Okay, here we are in Vizrt Trio. Our client's machine here that we're using is actually using version 2.11, so your interface may look slightly a little bit different with these buttons and such, but overall the whole interface should be pretty similar to us. But what we basically have here is, again, a 4-quadrant system. Up here is going to be where we import all of our scenes. Down in the lower left window is what's called the tab field. This will allow us to tab through our different field identifiers. Up here is the editing window in the upper right, and in the lower right window is the preview window. So to really get started, what we need to do is import our scenes that we created in Vizrt Artist. So up here we have this drop down where it says page editor. I'm going to use this drop down here to import our scenes. Now I click on that and we just need to navigate to the folder where we saved all of our scenes. So I'm going to go ahead and select my first full page here, and there's a couple of ways that you can import. One, we can select it and double click it, and that will import one scene at a time. So if we go back into our import scenes into that folder, I can also highlight it and use this little import button down here on the lower right to do it. Let's go back one more time to import scenes, navigate to our folder, and we could also select multiple scenes here and drag these into our window in the left. And you can see that it's populating these here. So let's start with the lower third. I'm going to go ahead and double click on the lower third, and here you see it brings up a preview in our preview window. Down here in the lower left we have what's called the tab fields. So if I hit my tab button on my keyboard, you can see how it switches between these two things. Up here in the upper right, this is where it allows us to change our text. So as we switch through this tab field by hitting tab, you can see the upper right window here changes as well. Now we have a couple little buttons here in the middle. This first one is a play button. So if we hit play, it will play our lower third on. The button to the right of it is called continue. If we hit the continue button, it will play that lower third out. We also have a time button here, so we can manually scrub this. If we want to go a little bit slower and see how it animates on, we can just manually scrub this line here as well. We also have a title area, a safe area, and a bounding box area over here that we can turn on. So let's change this first text out. We'll go ahead and hit play. It reveals the animation, and the workflow would go something like this. As we come in and we need to change this lower third, we could add a name here. So we'll type in John Smith, we'll hit tab, it will change us to the subline, and we can say maybe he's in Washington, DC. Now we changed this text, so what we want to do is save this as a page. So up here in the upper right we have a save and a save as. If I hit save, it's going to default to, however, we can change that. So I'm just going to type in 100 and hit enter. And when we did that, you can see that it added this line down here under our pages. So really what this is our lower third that we created in Vizrt Artist is acting as a template. So this L3 up here is our template, and these are our pages that we saved off of that template. So let's add one more lower third here. So I'll click on our L3, and again it loads up this L3 scene. So this time we'll say this is George Smith, and we'll hit tab, and this time he's in New York. And we'll go ahead and hit save or save as. We'll do a save as this time. It automatically defaulted up one number from the last thing that I saved, so it's at 101. I'm just going to hit enter, and now it adds this page down here in our page list. So whenever we need John Smith, we can just come over here, double click it, load it up, and we can play it out. If we need George Smith, we can double click that one, and we have it saved off as a page so we can recall it whenever we want. So let's move down to our next element here. It's called the live bug. We'll double click on this and it loads it up. And if we would just want to save this with a version with live, we can do that. So I'll go ahead and hit save as, and let's call this one 200. And when I hit enter, it adds it down here. Let's change out the live text to something like news, and we'll hit save as. We'll call this one 201. We'll hit enter. Here it placed our page down here. Let's do one more, and maybe we can call this one sports or something like that. And we can do a save as, and we'll call it 202. We'll hit enter, and it adds it down here. So anytime I need my live bug, I can click on 200 and then play it out. If I need the news bug, I can just click on 201, hit play, and it will play it out. And here's 202 with our sports bug, so we can play that out as well. So let's move down to our news banner here. We can load this template up and we can swap out the text. So let's go ahead and change this. We'll say like something like deadline looming, and we can hit the tab and it will change our editor here to the subline. So we can type in anything that we want. Let's just say a city again. So we'll say Washington, D.C. We'll click save or save as. I'm going to give it a number of 300. If you want to play it to test it out, you can see that it's right there. We hit continue and it takes that banner off as well. Let's just move down to the full page now. So we'll try this one out. We have our headline here that we can swap out. So again, let's just type in a headline here. We'll use the same headline. We'll go down to our subline text. We'll type in that same city. And then we have our full page text here. So we could include a quote or something like that. You could even close this in quotes or something if it is a quote, or any type of full page information that you need to type in there. We'll go ahead and hit save. We'll call this one 400. And let's go ahead and just move down to our last scene here called the OTS. So if I double click on this again, it loads up this OTS. You can hit play here to play it out. If I highlight my bounding box button here, it will show you which tab is highlighted or which field identifier is highlighted. So here's our headline, and you can see this bounding box here. So here we can change our headline, and we can just say some type of headline here. We'll hit the tab button. We'll go down to the subline, type in something else, and we'll also want to be able to swap out this image. So I'll go ahead and hit tab. And this takes us to the image editors where we'll be allowed to swap out an image. So I have a couple pictures here. I can go ahead and replace that, and we'll hit tab once more. And this particular OTS, I do not want this drop line. So I'm just going to delete all of the text in there. And you can see when we delete that text how it takes away that drop line. So I'm just going to leave this empty and hit save as. And I'm going to call this one 500. I'm going to load up my OTS again and create another page or variation of this. So here we're in our headline, and we can just change the headline here. We'll go hit the tab button. It takes us to the subline. We can retype whatever subline we need. So here we'll just type in another city. We'll hit tab again, and this time we'll swap out our image. Again, these images are specific to this OTS. So these three images here that we're using actually were cut out specifically for this OTS. Now I want this drop line to appear on here, so I'm going to fill in some type of text. So whatever you want to type in, we can just type in something random here. We're just going to hit the save as button. This time we're saving it as 501. We'll hit enter, and here it adds it down here in our pages. So now we have several variations of the OTS saved off. So as I come in and load these up, double click them and play them out, you can see the different variations. One with the drop line and one without the drop line. And if we come back through each one of our pages here and play these out, you can see how they saved. So with Trio, it's all about creating the templates in Vizrt Artist. You import the templates, and then you just really change the text and save off variations of it, which are called pages. The pages then live down here, which you can access at any point. A lot of people do like to incorporate naming conventions such as the 100. So for instance, this lower third, any variation of the lower third would be in the 100s. So 100 to 199. Our live bug here was 200 to say maybe 299, and our news was 300 to 399. But again, this is all organization, and however you want to do it or save the pages off, you can. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial here, and look for more because we'll be getting a little bit deeper with some other design tutorials and a little bit further into Trio also as we go on.